In this video today, I'm just going to be talking to you about why I believe most people fail when starting their own food truck business. If we haven't met yet, my name's Sam. I've grown my business to over $1 million a year, had it run under general management, gone on holidays for a lot of the year. I've basically done a lot in the mobile catering world. And I'm not trying to brag at all. I just have to tell you this so you listen to me. But basically, I have coached people that have made it. I've coached people that haven't made it. I've watched friends that have made it. I've watched friends that haven't made it. I've watched people struggle, succeed. I've watched myself struggle and succeed. And I've noticed patterns. All right. So I just want you to understand where I've come from. And what I'm about to tell you is subject to my industry experience and critique for that matter. So it's probably not what you think it is, the reason most people fail. And in my opinion, it's actually the start. And I don't mean the start where you're driving your food truck out of the manufacturer's gate, or you've just bought it secondhand or something, and you're going to your first event trying to sell food, like, I don't know, your system's not working that well. I mean, the transition from what you were doing before your food truck business to your food truck business. And I don't mean the physical, let's let's go and drive my food truck, whatever. I mean like what's going on up here? What happens in that process emotionally, mentally? How do you overcome the hurdles of this transition? And for me anyway, and I know this is the same, this is the patterns I'm noticing. Most of the time people come from a job they hate. Uh, often chefs. It really suits chefs starting a food truck. And a lot of the time they'll have little to no money. That was me anyway. They've got to quit their job. I had to quit my job. It's a hard thing to do. You're basically going through this identity crisis of, I'm going to go and start this business and I'm going to become someone new. But if that doesn't work out, I look like an idiot. And all these thoughts are going through your head. So you got that coupled with that whole transition, your identity crisis and shift, coupled with not having any money and not really knowing what you're doing with that little money you've got. And then all of it bundled together with this big life change that is really quite hard to process when you're trying to run a successful business. Now, you might say that's just what starting a business is. Like, people that have run a business before obviously know this, but that's for me anyway, that's the biggest hurdle, going from having a job to running a successful mobile catering business. That was the hardest part, overcoming that transition. I worked in jobs part-time to make up for my income while I wasn't making a full-time income yet. And that's really hard because you've got to do things, you've got to work a lot harder than other people because you're trying to do more with the same time. You've got to make sacrifices. You've got to pull things out of your life and say, all right, I'm not going to catch up with those friends because I need to plan my menu. I need to plan my concept. I need to apply for events. I need to find events. I need to find staff. There's so much to do. And a big thing people don't account for is literally that, how much there actually is to do to get started. And what happens is, like, people say, well, if I'm working a part-time job and I'm doing this business, I'm working like 6 or 7 days a week. Like, I can't do that. Well, here's the problem. The people that say that have a completely different idea of what it takes to be successful to someone else like myself that was successful when I was starting out. It wasn't easy. It was hard. I was trying to bring to life a business with very little money, and all I had was my time to hand paint signs, to hunt down things on Facebook Marketplace for cheaper prices, to rent trailers and all these things that were saving costs along the way so that I could graduate to the next step. So what I put it down to is people have very different definitions of what hard work is. And say you've got 100 people getting into the mobile catering world in any given year. And there's a certain amount of events that need mobile caterers. Like it's a finite market. There's not unlimited jobs available, and you'll learn that very quickly when you start. It is competitive. You're up against other people that are not only in the industry already, but are hungry and have just started. And if you're not willing to do things that they're doing, they're going to get more events than you. You're not going to get in. They're going to think more critically about how to run their business. And you're, like, I hate to say it, but you are probably on a path to failure. That is the difference between the people that make it and don't make it. And you're right. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's every business. I think you're thinking that. It is every business. Those that are willing to put in more than someone else and make more sacrifices, I don't care what it is, like what is, we all have things that are important to us in our lives, and many of us have a line where we're like, well, obviously I'm not going to give that up. Like, but then you have someone that will give that up. They're going to beat you. So if they're going to beat you doing that, you've got to find another way to beat them. Like it's a competitive world out there, no matter what business you're in, no matter whether you're trying to start a restaurant in a new spot, whether it's a busy area that's competitive and like there's a lease that you've just struggled to, you've just managed to get. Like what I'm trying to say is if there's a lease available, then it's likely got some kind of problem, like a business failed in there before. So it's a competitive market to actually get a lease in a good location where it's not saturated and you might do well. Same thing with like products on the shelves in Woolies. I was saying to my business partner Nick the other day, some people think it's hard to get into events. Like try getting soft drinks on the shelves in a supermarket. Like everything is competitive. And what I'm trying to say here is if you are coming at your food truck business with no money, no willpower, and you think you're just going to slide into it, and you've got to deal with the life transition and kind of emotional turmoil of that whole identity shift, then that is what is going to make you fail. So if you want to be successful, just come at it expecting to do much harder work than you've ever done in your life. And that is the thing that's probably going to get you there. Hope that was valuable for you today. It's pretty simple stuff, but it's so much more effective than anything technical I could probably talk about in 10 minutes. Hope that helped. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.